Welcome to module 14.3. In this lecture video, I'm going to show you how to find the least common multiple, okay, of a polynomial, of a list of polynomials. So there's a lot of different ways when it comes to find least common multiple or least common denominator. I'm going to show you with this example right here. So we've done something similar to least common multiple before, which is finding the greatest common factors between all the terms. So I'm going to demonstrate this again in this fashion. So as you can recall, I demonstrated this one time before. To find the least common multiple or greatest common factor, we basically find all the prime numbers, okay, of a number. So 5 just 5, because 5 is already a prime number. 24 is like 6 times 4 times 6. 4 times 6, the 4 is 2 times 2, the 6 is 2 times 3. 15 is 3 times 5. Okay, so for greatest common factor, we're trying to find the common factor that repeated between all three terms. But when it comes to least common multiple, we got to count the repeated factors between all the terms and the non-repeated factors. So check this out. You see this 5 up here and this 5 down here repeated. We will count them one time. Okay, it's not all three terms, and that's okay as long as I have repeated factors between any 3 terms or 2 terms. I'm gonna count them one time. All right, the 3 here and the bottom 3 repeated, we will count them one time. So the 2, this factor 2 did not repeat with any other terms, so we count that one time. This 2 did not repeat, count that one time. This 2 did not repeat, count one time again. So once I finish counting them, I'm just going to multiply all of them together. So this is 15 times 8. 15 times 8 will tell you the least common multiple is 120. All right. So this step number 2 says form the product of all factors that appear, using each factor the most number of times it appear. Okay, so that means it's just basically counting the repeated factors and the non-repeated factors. Least common multiple is counting the repeated factors and the non-repeated factors in here. Greatest common factor is only counting the repeated factors, and you got to repeat between all the terms. So when it comes to find the LCD or least common multiple of polynomial, we're going to do exactly the same thing. All right, my first denominator is x minus 3. X minus 3 cannot be factored other than 1, so we will put x minus 3 in the parenthesis to indicate I have factor of 1. For the x squared, the other denominator or the other polynomial I need to factor, plus ax plus 16. All right, this is a trinomial, so I will factor them. X and x, 16, I can use 4 and 4, and I believe my sign got to be both positive. All right, so find the least common denominator, LCD, and finding least common multiple is exactly the same technique. It's just my polynomial here are in a denominator. That's what we call the LCD, least common denominator. All right, so let's count them, okay? Very important, make sure we count this correctly. The x minus 3, the factor of the first denominator did not repeat with any factors of another denominator, so we count x minus 3 one time. The x minus 4, okay, the x minus 4 down here did not repeat with another factor up here, so we count this one time. This x minus 4 did not repeat with another x minus, excuse me, this x plus 4 did not repeat with another x plus 4 up here with another denominator, so we got to count this factor one time. So my LCD will just be x minus 3 times x plus 4 times x plus 4. So that's the answer right here. You don't have to multiply them out. You can just write them in factor form. All right, let's try another one, okay? Find the LCD. So I got two different denominator here. Okay, so what do I do with the numerator? Well, we will do something with the numerator in other lecture video where I will show you how to add and subtract rational expressions. But in order to add and subtract rational expression, we got to first learn how to find LCD. All right, so let's factor this one. So that will be 2x and x, or x and 2x, no matter. 10. 10 is 2 and 5. 2 right here, 5 right here, right? Because that's 4 and 5. So since the last sign is positive, both my signs are the same. So my inner and outer got to be added to get 9. So it got to be positive for both. All right, the other one, 3x squared plus 18x plus 24. All right, I do have a greatest common factor 3 here, so I'm going to factor it out. So that gave me x squared plus 6x plus 8. All right, factor again. For x squared, I can use x and x. 8, 2, and 4. My sign got to be positive. All right, so once I factor each one of my polynomial, let's count the repeated factors and the non-repeated factors between the two denominator. So as you can see, the x plus 2 repeated, we count that one time. All right. The 2x plus 5 did not repeat with the factors of another of the other denominator, so we count that one time. All right, down here, this x plus 4 did not repeat with another factor up here, so we got to count that one time. The 3, this factor 3 did not repeat with any factors from the first denominator, so we count that one time. I just put this kind of factor up front, okay? Since it's only one term. If my factor is just simply just a 3 or a single lettered factor, I just put them in the front. So here you go. This is my least common denominator. The repeated factors and the non-repeated factors. All right, let's try a couple more, okay? Find the least common multiple. So LCM and LCD is basically the same thing. It's just where they're located. So these two polynomial is not in the denominator, so we don't call them LCD. But once they are in the denominator, we call them LCD. But how you find them is exactly the same. X squared minus 49 is a difference of square, so that's x plus 7 times x plus 7. 3x plus 21, the only thing I can do here is factor out the greatest common factor, which is 3. So what's left of it is x plus 7. So my least common multiple, let's see. Did you see this set of x plus 7 repeated between the two polynomial? So we count that one time. All right. This x plus 7 did not repeat with another x plus 7 down here, so we only count this one time. All right. This 3 did not repeat, okay, with anybody up here from another polynomial, so we count that 3 one time. so this is my answer. My LCM, 3 times x plus 7 times x plus 7. Oh, I'm sorry. It's x minus 7. My bad. Difference of square is plus 7 and minus 7. Sorry about that. So this is minus. Sorry. The plus 7 repeated. The minus 7 did not repeat. Alright, let's try another one. Count the repeated factors and the non-repeated factors. Y squared plus 4y plus 3. If I would, let's see, I can use y and y, 1 and 3. And I think my sign got to be positive for both of them, right? Because my inner and outer now will be 3 and 1. Add up together is positive 4 here. This is an interesting one. YZ plus 3z minus 9y minus 27. So this is 4 terms. So as you can recall, if you have 4 terms, and none of the 4 terms are like terms, so this must be factoring by grouping type of problem. So I'm going to group the first 2 and the last 2. So from the first 2 terms, I can factor out a z. So that leaves me with y plus 3. Between the last 2 terms, I can factor out a negative 9, right? Since both terms are negative, I can factor out negative 9. So what should be left with is y. Negative 9 going to negative 9y is positive y, right? Negative 9 going to negative 27 is positive 3. So now I got 2 terms. So what's the same between the 2 terms is y plus 3. Once a parenthesis matches up, that becomes my greatest common factor. So once I factor out my y plus 3 from out of the 2 terms, what's left of it got to be y minus 9 in the parenthesis. Excuse me, z minus 9. Alright, so for the least common multiple for the 2 polynomial, the y plus 3 repeated between the 2 polynomial, we only count that 1 time. The y plus 1 did not repeat, count that 1 time. This factor did not repeat with the factors from another polynomial, count that 1 time. The z minus 9 did not repeat with the factors from another polynomial, so we count that 1 time. Alright, so that's your least common multiple. So in this lecture video, we factor our polynomials and count the repeated factors and the non-repeated factors, okay, in order to find the least common multiple or least common denominator. Alright, that will conclude this lecture video. Thank you for watching.